Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our premiere review. Dexter, New Blood, Season 1. It has come and gone. We just watched it on Showtime. I am hyped. I am just like shoot me out of a cannon right now.
No, I'm really excited that it's back. There is a lot to discuss. There's a lot to like about this premiere. I mean, you want to get into it?
I am so ready to just give me my tools. Let's just go all back into the shed and let's all have a conversation,
Oh, it's
everybody.
getting dark real fast.
All right. Well, we're going to be here talking about Dexter New Blood all season long. Hopefully, it will not be as dark in every other video early on, but
It
hit,
is Dexter.
hit that subscribe button so you guys can be a part of it. You are not our dark passengers. You are our joyful passengers along for the ride with us.
Aren't they joyful for Dexter as well in some way?
What is wrong with all of us? We're taking so much like glee and joy out of just watching this guy murder people as we have been for like years and years on end.
It's just so good to see him back. Now, listen, I have on my lumberjack horse people energy shirt, small town shirt,
Yeah.
because like Dexter, we're all here for it. So this show is taking place years in the future. We've
Yeah.
seen that finale. Okay,
Nah.
listen, I know that they're trying to like be like, this is a, limited series, kind of like not a spin-off, but like, something different. But they're not forgetting how it ended. They even still had him at the beginning, chopping wood, tons of wood, piling it together. And as much as I hated that finale, I am glad that they're not just pretending it never happened. Like, they are owning what they've done.
I love so much about this episode. Like so much. I did not think I would be as high on New Blood as I am after one episode, and there's a very good chance it will disappoint me later because
No!
this was the story arc for Dexter. We all got like so all in on it because like one of our all collective favorite shows, and then the
Yeah.
last couple of seasons it just went. But listen,
Yeah, it kind of did. It started to kind of go downhill with that whole Deb is in love with her brother thing, which we'll talk a little bit here too, because they haven't 100% forgotten about that either. And as much as I may not have liked every single storyline they did in the original series, I truly appreciate that they did not just gloss over it in this episode. It's great.
yeah, like Clyde Phillips, the original sort of showrunner for Dexter, he wasn't a part of these later bad seasons, but he's back. I felt his magic, and like you, I
Yeah.
appreciated so much that this really it stuck with a lot of the things that we even didn't like, but it found a way to, I think, make a lot of them work and make this
Yeah.
world still feel interesting and immersive and nostalgic. Like I was just like I was mesmerized. I could have watched another like 4 hours.
Yeah, let's talk about the Deb of it all,
Yeah.
because that was that Deb loves Dexter storyline. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I can take it or leave it. It's, not my favorite. A lot of people hated it. I was kind of like, it happens sometimes, but it was still sort of present. So my biggest thing that I didn't like about the finale, besides the lumberjack thing,
Yeah.
was that when Deb died, Dexter put her in a garbage bag and threw her in, the water, which is what he does with the people that he doesn't care about, that he doesn't love, that he doesn't have such an affection for. So I was really bummed that that's sort of how it ended. So to have her back,
Yeah.
I love the Deb character so much. Like, I love Dexter, but I'm a Deb fan.
Yeah.
So to have her back and have her not be the dark passenger in that she's like, you can kill people, you can
Yeah.
do it, let's do it like this, kind of like Harry was, to be like, make sure you don't get caught, let's do it this way. She was, listen, we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And I like that she was taking on kind of that role, you can do it the other
Yeah.
way. You don't have to kill people. We can figure this out. Remember what happened to me? Her pulling out that bullet. It was gross. It was great. It
Yeah.
was very powerful, very well done. I really liked it. And I like that the intimacy between them was still there. I mean,
Yeah.
they did have her laying beside him in bed, where I was like, okay, so some of these themes are still here. together.
Yeah.
They're making it work. I just always love the interaction between them. So to have them both back again, wonderful.
I
Wonderful.
I am with you on the wonderment of it all. This was
Deb.
so I love Deb too. I love this version of Deb because how I sort of view her is she's sort of the Deborah Morgan we saw in the first 8 seasons, but she's also Deb as Dexter wants her to be. So this is basically his own manifestation of a Deb. And
Mm-hmm.
even with that scene where she is sort of saying, and I love you for this. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
there's that word love that's going to automatically trigger that storyline that shall not be named. But here, in this instance, it felt almost like Dexter needed someone to love him and say that they loved him so that that would be sort of his incentive that, hey, I'm picturing Deb here. If Deb was here, she would love that I haven't killed in a really long time. And it worked. It was so poetic and just interesting.
Talking about that, let's talk about Dexter's girlfriend.
Oh boy.
Because staying in this theme
Yeah.
of the Deb loves Dexter, we never saw this reciprocated. However, I will say that there are some similarities here with his girlfriend and Deb. I mean, they both have the same sort of haircut, dark haircut. They're sort of the same age that she was before she had passed away, and she's a cop. It's sort of like it's just like on. There are some similarities here. Let's
Yeah.
try to not pretend like there isn't. And I mean, like it works.
Here's the question: if Clyde Phillips was here, I would want to know: did you cast Angela because you wanted her to look like Deb? Like that, there's a lot of other things in there that are definitely not coincidental.
Yes.
She's a police officer,
Yes.
all that, the age stuff. But like, was it oh, this actress looks a lot like Deb. Let's cast her because I'm really fascinated by all of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there. I don't think it was by accident. It was definitely by design. Everything felt very purposeful in this episode, which is why this episode really is such a good episode to come back to because they touched on a lot of these sort of past things and then brought them into the present to make them still work in a way where they actually didn't work that well before, but now these themes are coming together.
I have one more thought on Angela, and this will be a minor little pet peeve I have with this episode. It's not diminishing my love for it whatsoever, but the whole I'm pulling you over, you're under arrest. Look, come on. We have seen this in about 500 different movies already. You guys can do a better bit than this.
I agree. We've seen it before, but I'll give it a pass because I have something else that I was kind of like, I'm gonna need some more context on this. So we'll talk about that now, and that is Harrison.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with Harrison coming back. I kind of wish it wasn't in the very first episode. I would have liked to have just kind of gotten more footing with Jim coming back into being Dexter and sort of accepting who he is and diving back into that world. There was just a lot of other stuff going on. We haven't seen Dexter in years and years and years. I just wanted to have an episode where I really got to know what he was doing, what was going on. And the Harrison thing felt too early. But more than that, the thing I was talking about with context of what it is I need to know.
Yeah.
How did Harrison find him? Now, the last time we saw Harrison, he was being shipped off with Hannah to live in wherever they were going to end up in the world. But if I had to guess, Dexter then was going to go away. The whole purpose of this was so that Harrison could have this other life away from him and have a chance to grow up kind of more normal without a serial killer father.
Yeah.
So I would assume then that would mean that Dexter would not be in contact with Hannah, and Hannah wouldn't know where he is.
Yeah.
He's changed his name, his complete identity. He, was living in the middle of nowhere. how did Harrison find him? Like, he is dating a cop who can't even figure out that he's Dexter Morgan. But this 14-year-old is going to figure out that he's not really Jim. He's really Dexter. He's living out here. Like, how did that happen? That question, it needs to be answered for me. I'm sorry, not sorry. Answer the question.
I am going to live in a pretend land right now where I am accepting that Harrison is there. I agree these questions need to be answered.
Yes.
I think I'm a little bit more patient with it than just because I think I'm fine waiting a few episodes. I think if they give me like episode 5, episode 6, but here's the problem, and this is something you're sort of alluding to here. If you guys squander this, if you screw this up and it is some completely unbelievable reason, I'm gonna be upset, but
yeah, I don't need it to be that Harrison was on Ancestry.com one night and was like, okay, I found him.
Yeah, like it's gotta be a really believable reason, and I am trying to put my belief into the writers that you guys have figured out a really good way that Harrison was able to pull this off. I still don't know what happened to Hannah, by the way. It doesn't sound like Yvonne Strahovski's coming back.
No, but my hope is that we saw Dexter finally acknowledge Harrison and be like, okay, you know what? You're right. You've come here to find me. I am your dad. Come back to my cabin. Really nice cabin, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That first shot going over the cabin, I'm like, oh, you doing all right, Dexter. This is pretty nice. Anyways, when he brought him back, my hope is that in episode 2 we are going to have some sort of a sit down where Harrison explains, where's Hannah, where has he been, what has his life been like. I'm sure Dexter wants to know. I also want to know.
I also want to know how Dexter ended up in Iron Lake. Like, because when we saw him last, he wasn't lumberjacking there. He was he was off somewhere else in the world. So I kind of want to connect some of the dots. I want to know more of how long he was there. Why did he go there? Like, that is, and I mean, maybe this is a good thing if Dexter New Blood's going to pay a lot of this off, that we're left with so many questions, because, you know, you thought a lot about sort of the Harrison backstory, and I was a lot in the sort of vein of, okay, how is he going to then explain to his, to his girlfriend Angela, oh, here is this kid who has just showed up at my house. Like, how are you going to, spell all that out?
Yeah, he's going to have to figure it out. And he said at the end of the episode, he kind of lives on this edge of the truth. So I'm sure he'll figure it out. I mean, all the best lies are sort of situated in some sort of truth. So I'm sure he'll figure that out. That's something that I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out as well.
One thing I really like, just almost established from the get-go, is I like the vibe that they've set up with Iron Lake. Like, I like the routine of Dexter, which, by the way, anytime you got like a baked goods / donut shop that has like the pink box equals these are good, and like he's carrying around the pink box of pastries.
I was really glad that they brought that back, because I know, and you guys know, that he always was the donut guy. Whenever he was down at the station doing his work, he'd always come in, donuts. It was part of his routine back then. It was good to see part of his routine now.
Yeah, and and he even still had that sort of, hey, he knows everybody's name. He's still really friendly.
This episode did a very good job with the callbacks.
Yeah, there were so many of them, and eventually we get to Fred's Fishing and Game, which, by the way, why does Dexter keep having to choose like these sort of really dangerous jobs associated with weapons when he's a killer?
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that he chose a job like this. I mean, he was really trying to say, I'm staying in a routine. I need to stay in my routine. Yeah. Deb is here. Stay in the routine. Just keep on going. You can do this. Why would you pick a job like that then, that has you near knives, hunting knives all the time? For what? How is that helpful?
I guess this is where we have to talk about Matt Caldwell, because man, this guy sucks. Like, this guy, Dexter always does a good job of making you not feel that bad for some of Dexter's victims.
Oh, they do a fantastic job at that. I mean, that's why you've got a show about a serial killer and you're all rooting for him. And it's just like, they did it again here. This guy was awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. So by the time we got to the end of the episode where Dexter was kind of like, here we go. I was like, yeah, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's get that kill room together. He even broke a glass and tried to make a little blood slide. I was like, oh, that's gone badly for you in the past. You need to not do that. And then at that point, he was like, you know what? I don't need these trophies anymore. I'm like, that's right. You gotta learn from your mistakes.
He's an evolved monster now,
Yes,
sure.
he is.
He's going to do everything else, but he's just going to forget about the one thing that got him in the most trouble.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sweeping nostalgia and sort of the preparing everything for what happened to Matt. And it's fascinating sort of as well that really the only reason Dexter kind of figures out a lot of this, and yeah, he knew that Matt sucked from the get-go coming in trying to buy the weapon without the proper procedure and all of that, but if it wasn't for, Matt's buddy here, Bill, like having a nervous breakdown in front of Dexter, I don't think we get to this point at all.
No, it was just sort of a perfect storm of things coming together. So, is this going to be the beginning? Of course it is. And with the fact that his girlfriend is a cop, things are going to come in and he'll be able to sort of, I guess, find ways to continue going down this path because he is in a very small town.
Yep.
They did show just how much everybody knows everything from the big pecan pie caper. Like everybody knows everything very quickly. So how is he going to really get around this? That's sort of, the thing that I'm the most interested in. I think him having a girlfriend who's a cop will shield him for a little while.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long.
You better make sure you don't wear any bloody clothes to your line dancing there, Dexter. You don't want people to find out while you're doing the two-step. I'm just saying.
I love this little life that he's put together. It really is routine for him, and it feels that way.
All right, I guess this is where we talk about the part of the episode that nearly brought me to tears, and this is, of course, the saga of the White Buck. Like, this whole minute where Dexter is just, like, walking up to this White Buck, who, I think it sort of represents sort of the, the tranquility and innocence of this new version of life that he has found, and he's just like coming closer and closer. The music is just like escalating. My heart is just like breaking. And then this Matt idiot has to go and shoot it. It made me so unbelievably mad.
Yeah, I felt like that was coming. I mean, we knew that Matt was out there. We knew he had this gun. We knew that bad things were going to happen with Matt. And there was no way that moment was going to stay that peaceful. I felt my heart like getting squeezed because I was like, is it going to be now? Is it going to be now? It's coming. I know it's coming.
I was so upset. Like, I was just viscerally like screaming, and it just ultimately we couldn't have Dexter be the story of Dexter where he continued to sort of live this idyllic life with these people who love him.
No, it's not a show I think that anyone would continue to watch if every week he's walking around saying hello to the same people and bringing everybody donuts and going to work. It's just, he's got to come back to who he is. And it seems like they did a good job very quickly bringing him back to who he is. I wasn't sure if it was going to be first episode or second episode, but we're here.
Yeah, I like that we're here. I like that we have like all of these just big, interesting questions. I don't even know how they're going to be able to like pay off all of these and then introduce new story stuff. I have one other question. There may be people who know a lot more about this than me. As you guys probably would assume from looking at me, I am not a hunting aficionado. I do not frequent the weapon stores, but do you really have like a weapon delivery dude who just shows up at your house with like a giant rifle and it's just like, here you go?
I was more like, I've been around hunters, not myself, but I've been around hunters. I've never seen anybody running through the woods, chasing down deers or what. You're usually sitting in some sort of a blind waiting for something. I've never seen hunting like this where you're running and in the cold.
Yeah.
I'm from Canada. Running in the cold hurts your lungs. Like it is really tough. And I mean, it looked tough on Michael while he was doing it as well. I'm assuming he was really in the cold because it looked cold. But
Yeah.
it is tough on your lungs. However, I also have just never seen anybody running around after the prey.
No, this is very, very true. By the way, the winter scenery looks really, really good.
Yeah, it does.
Like, we don't see a lot of shows that are sort of set in this. So
No.
they've given us a great landscape,
Yeah.
interesting story. We got a lot of just names that were brought up that made me happy.
Dokes.
Yeah, I know we were both on the same thing. Surprise, we both mentioned
Oh.
Dokes at the same time.
Yeah, it was good to hear names that we have lost.
I love this premiere. I hope it stays this good. But okay, let's hear from you guys now. Are you on board this new slice of life that is Dexter New Blood? Be sure to let us know in the comments and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We'll see you here next time.